Oh my goodness. I just want to go out and say I apologize for the wait for this video because honestly, I've always wanted to be a YouTuber who does video essays. I burnt out real quickly making that Need for Speed Most Wanted video. It's a game I'm really passionate about. It's a game that I love. But I didn't realize that the process of making such a video, well, I think the video is okay in my, and there's some things that I could have made this better, but I guess that's just how the story goes. For further notice, I apologize if I stutter too much or stumble a lot. I have a script of the beginning, but it's more like a general outline for the rest of the video. I'm just trying to discover my style, and maybe my style is not making scripts considering that I got so burnt out from the last video. Yeah, so alongside that, playing video games has been rough, life's been tough, and I feel like playing video games is a chore. I played Tales of Beseria and NieR Automata, and I rediscovered that video games are actually fun, and I decided to go back to playing this game. This game has been on my mind since I made the Need for Speed Most Wanted video, and it's the first game I've ever played. What a great game this is. Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix. I remember seeing this game at a game store and I was just hooked by the look of the cover. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's just all the lights and the amount of red of the PS2 Greatest Hits cover. I wanted to get this game, to be honest. When I got the game, I put the disc immediately in my PS2 and was just hooked. This is the first game I've ever played. If it wasn't for this game, I wouldn't have loved video games, racing games, and cars. The driving, the racing, the style, the music, the cars themselves. I love this game so much. And when I was old enough to realize who the game developers and publisher were, I was like, oh my goodness, why would they make such violent games? And surprisingly, this game faded into the background for me. Of all games, Need for Speed Most Wanted, as I just said, I made a video on, you should totally check it out, took over my attention faster than the McLaren F1 LM in this game. Is it strange that in that video I criticized so much about Most Wanted, yet I've only played that game 11 times? I said 9 times in that video. I don't know what I was saying. Is it strange that I just started this video with how much I love Midnight Club 3 and I've only been in this game one time, one complete playthrough? That's right, I've only done one playthrough, and that was when I was a kid.
Don't ask me, don't blame me.
Now don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean I never tried to play this game ever again. No. At one point, I did try to pick it back up, but I just couldn't be bothered. Then all of a sudden, my PS2 disc was all scratched up, and this game is infamous for being unreadable. If you went past the trademark screen with a messed up disc, you were one of the lucky ones. So I'm not kidding when I say this. I bought another PS2 disc, and that disc was messed up too, man. A few years later, I will buy the digital version on the PS3 and try to beat the game. And I'm not kidding you, I lost interest within the first 3 hours. The last race of Bishop, I don't know why, I spent 3 hours doing his last race and I just couldn't finish it, and I rage quit. Funnily enough, in my playthrough for this video, I beat him in one try with a Scion TC, with only nitrous. I don't know what happened, I did not get better at this game. So, for this video, considering that the fact that my PS2 discs are scratched and my PS3 controller stopped working, I'll be emulating this game using PCS X2. I finally get to see this game at a higher resolution, oh my goodness. Returning to this game, do I think Midnight Club 3 Double Edition Remix is a game everyone should play, or has nostalgia blinded me as hard as Need for Speed Most Wanted? In my opinion, I believe everybody should play Midnight Club 3 in their life at least once, because by far the best aspect of this game is the gameplay. That thrilling, high-speed sense, insane, uncontrollable feeling you get is very rarely replicated in today's era. You see, Midnight Club's philosophy of driving is different from, say, Need for Speed or Forza. Whereas those games are more grippy, even with Need for Speed's Break to Drift obsession, Midnight Club is borderline insane. Now, the difficulty of Midnight Club 3 is a lot easier than Midnight Club 2, but there's at times where Midnight Club 3 just gets as frustrating as Midnight Club 2. But this is what keeps it engaging. With the starter cars you get, you can drive relatively easy, but as soon as you get Class C cars with level 1 upgrades, oh my goodness. Where Most Wanted can be mind-numbing, Midnight Club 3 keeps you engaged because you know damn well there's a mistake just around the corner. But that's what keeps it interesting. The core physics of this game are just so insane that you can't help but at least keep your eyes on the road and never blink. You have the essentials that you unlocked from Midnight Club 2. Burnout, Slipstream Turbo, and two-wheel driving. Having these abilities immediately in the third game allows the first 30 minutes of this game to be a less of a slog than the second game. And one thing I foolishly remembered was that I always wonder why people make fun of Need for Speed's Break to Drift physics when Midnight Club 3 has handbrake to drift physics. a part of me feels like a hypocrite, but a part of me also feels like I'm comparing apples to oranges. You see, Need for Speed always had that grippy feeling, and once the Burnout and Criterion influence came into Need for Speed, everybody got mad. But with Midnight Club, it's going back to that old school arcade feeling of driving. It's not trying to replicate real life. You know, acceleration is really short. Like the ratios of the first 4 gears are so quick they just fly by. Cars turn mostly on a dime, but there's still some uniqueness between them. Although your car interacting with the world environment, it's tough, man. Sometimes I've clipped through buildings from jumping, and oh my goodness, I just wanted to like smash my controller sometimes. Metaphorically speaking, controllers are expensive. I discovered this on accident, and I think a lot of people did, but when you change the drift tuning, if you make your car slippery, if you shift into the second to last gear and start drifting, you gain speed. And this is like the cornerstone of Midnight Club driving, to be honest. It is insane to gain speed while drifting, and it is insane to keep that speed going. In Midnight Club 3, you better hope you don't slip, because you can only control your car in one direction practically. If your poor soul hits a traffic car at the wrong angle, you will slip into the other direction, and that is an instant restart. And that will be the majority of your mistakes, alongside forgetting what the route is, the AI messing up, or taking a jump wrong, or just doing something stupid. That's the thing about Midnight Club. I feel like Midnight Club 3 thrives on something called #skill issue. I feel like Midnight Club 3 is more tame compared to the second game. You see, the second game had Los Angeles as a city, but it also had Paris and Tokyo, and those small-ass European and Japanese streets, those are insane. However, all the cities in Midnight Club 3 take place in American cities with wide open roads. That means less mistakes, but that doesn't mean you'll never make a mistake, because you will make a mistake, you will not blink, and you will cry. Though the only thing I don't like about this game's physics is how ancient it feels flipping your car over. It's got that Driver 1-esque physics, like the PS1 game, where you just like, you fall over on your roof, and all of a sudden the friction of the road just scrapes your car to an instant halt. It's not like newer games where it feels natural to crash and flip over. The worst thing is, if you're really unlucky, having your car not respawn for another 2 seconds, just staring at your car as your opponents miraculously pass you, that is insane. That is frustrating. Okay, but to give my own opinion on it, on one hand, I'm going to be honest, that chaotic slipperiness is something I don't find appealing. I like to be in control of my car in racing games. The very few times where I lose it, I know I can recover from it. I prefer some form of realism in my game. I have to admit that this game is way more interesting than Most Wanted will ever be. Most Wanted is mind-numbing, but this game just glues your eyes to the screen. And in fact, there's a lot for keeping your eyes on the screen. Not only in the driving, but also in the presentation. This game has a really slick art style, and I love these loading screens along with the music. I love just these cutscenes. These mechanics are not that in-depth, but they're appealing for who they are as like tutorial guides of telling you the next car club, the next race, and I think they're really cool.
That's all I do to him. We ain't never race.
Tell me, have you ever had a game where you enjoy watching the tutorials? I can't remember a game where I actually like that kind of stuff. As you keep progressing in the game rewards you with basically, you get power-ups for your cars. You get Zone, Aggro, and Roar. Although they're specific to certain car classes, and you can't just choose which one you want. What's weird is that Zone is honestly the worst. I only like it on sports bikes because I don't have to fall off, but I feel it's not as necessary as I want it to be. It's no Need for Speed Speedbreaker, I'll tell you that much. So you don't get that cool grip moment, those instant turn moments you get in Most Wanted. And you build up the mirror by not crashing, which is already tense enough as is. I don't use aggro because I'm trying to survive. Even though you use it on SUVs, I rarely use it because I try not to crash, man. I'm not trying to die, bro. But the best ability of them all is Roar. Rawr. Muscle cars and choppers get Roar, and you can just charge it by drifting, which you'll be doing all the time with these vehicles. And by the good loving lord, once you use it, bro, your car farts, bro, and everything that has a motor engine will scatter. And I love messing with the opponents. The AI in this game could care less about your well-being, and they are somehow always perfect. And honestly, they get what they deserve. Other things about this game that are appealing is the visual customization. Now, I have to admit this much, I hate this era of car culture so much. It is cringe. Fast and Furious, ew. But I fell for it, man. I fell for it. I customized my cars to my liking and made my cars look ridiculous. And you know what? I'll take back that statement I just said earlier. I think I like the car customization. Whereas I don't like it in Need for Speed because I care about driving. I am not one of those people to care about how my car looks. I care about if I can actually drive well and play the video game well. I'd rather be that than just pretend I look good with the game because of my car and I'm completely terrible. That's just how I feel, but I fell for it, man, and The customization in this game is amazing, especially since the Midnight Club 2 had none. Oh man, there's a lot and it really opens the inner Rice in you. But keep upgrading those performance parts and you'll see that Midnight Club really tests your reflexes with speed and how much you understand its mechanics. When this game is an open world game, it really is open world. You need to know the optimal route of races, which for the most of them are pretty obvious and can be inferred with racing game common sense of, oh, this is a shortcut, I'll take this, or maybe I can keep going this route and there'll be an alleyway, you know, stuff like that. But the worst of them all is scripted traffic and avoiding regular traffic in the first place because your car reacts terribly to hitting those things. Once again, hashtag skill issue. I'll say that Midnight Club 3 is easier than Midnight Club 2, but Midnight Club 2 starts from really easy to really hard by the end, and Midnight Club 3 starts really hard in the mid game, but gets really easy at both the beginning and the end of the game. I mean, once you have the McLaren F1, doing Tokyo races is just a breeze. There's like nothing that can challenge you, to be honest. But how is it that this game can keep my engagement, but other racing games don't? Like, other racing games just feel so boring compared to Midnight Club. And I'm using that word because I actually know what it feels like to be bored in life. It amazes me that in 2 minutes, a race for 2 minutes has me begging for life itself. Though, I'm also kind of disappointed that Midnight Club 3 doesn't capitalize on unordered races. You see, there's 4 events in this game. Ordered races, which are essentially sprint races, circuit races, unordered races, and autocross races. Autocross races, I don't know why as a kid I sucked at them and failed a lot, failed miserably, but I beat them easily now, I don't know how. But there's actually very few unordered races in this game. I think there's like 3 to 4 per city, even 2 maybe. And that's just weird. Midnight Club 2's most infamous races are the unordered races. Sometimes you'll be repeating races too. I mean, yeah, you'll be doing it against specific street racers or in tournaments or in club races where you only have a certain car class. And that makes things fresh, but it's kind of odd because, you know, you'll forget all the shortcuts and have to do the race 10 times again. Oh my goodness. Just a quick note. I'm kind of disappointed by the fact that I kind of wish Midnight Club introduced some of the multiplayer party game modes with power-ups. I think the game would thrive on that. In fact, I think Rockstar could really capitalize on a new Midnight Club game considering how bad Need for Speed, Forza, and the crew are doing right now. It is so weird that Rockstar does not see this. And if they are seeing it, bro, they just don't care. Or they do care, but nobody at the higher ups actually do care. And that is sad, that is depressing, man. There's a popular saying in the gaming community that if a game is really hard in its genre, it's the Dark Souls of its genre. While I wouldn't say Midnight Club is necessarily the Dark Souls of the racing game genre, out of all the more popular racing games that everybody could think of in arcade racing games, this one really takes the cake. It really does. Unless there's some game, I guess, like Tokyo Extreme Racer. Is that tough a game? I never played it. Is Burnout hard? It depresses me that this game is one of those games that you're just like, oh, games back in the day were appealing. They were fun. And they didn't need DLC, they didn't need patches, they didn't need all of this. All you needed was a disc, well, not a scratched one. You just put it in, and you enjoy the game. And it's such a shame that we can't get that anymore. Will we get another Midnight Club game? No, not at all. And that's sad. I don't think Need for Speed, I don't think any of these racing games will ever return to the glory they had in the 2000s, and that's a shame. Okay, now that I've done my TED Talk, it's time I finally head into these Japanese games, and oh man, I don't know if I want to do a script for these games, but I want to do them because they reminded me that video games are actually fun. So I'm ready for it. I'm Redacted TV. Give a like if you want, leave a dislike if you want, comment if you want. I hope you enjoyed the video.